Hey socialites, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Ariell. I create mostly beauty videos, a little bit of fragrance, as well as lifestyle vlogs. So be sure to hit the subscribe button so you too can become a socialite. So today's going to be a recreation, well my version of recreating Kelly Rowland's look. I follow a celebrity makeup artist named Kill Pretty on Instagram, and he did her makeup and it was this sort of beautiful green-eyed sultry look. Every single thing that I use today will be linked down below in the description box, so be sure to check that out. I did my best to do my take on it, so if you want to see how I recreated her look, then keep on watching. Okay y'all, so I think this is the first time I've ever recreated a celebrity's look, so I'm super excited. And this is probably the most planning out I've ever done for a makeup tutorial, just really picking out the right products. So I'm going to start off with the Glow Recipe Strawberry BHA Pore Smooth Blur Drops. So I've been using this probably since it first came out. I do have visible pores in the cheek area, so I'm just gonna apply it here because we want a nice smooth look with no visible pores. And the only thing I have on my face already is an Exuviance serum, which I'm growing to love, you guys. So I'm gonna keep using it for about another week or so, and I'll update you guys on that serum. But these blur drops really help to fill in the pores and just give you an overall smooth complexion. So next is foundation. I kind of went back and forth on which foundation to use because she has like sort of a soft matte overall finish to her makeup look. So I'm gonna go in with the KVD Beauty Good Apple Serum Foundation. This does give you that soft matte appearance. I think also if you don't have this one, you could use the soft matte foundation from NARS. That also gives you a beautiful full coverage soft matte complexion. So I'm going to start off with about 1.5 pumps distributed all over before I blend, making sure I start in the areas that I need the most coverage first. This is definitely more so like my winter shade because I did buy this in the winter time, but it's okay because she has a bronzed look. She's pretty bronzed. That's fine because we're going to go in bronze to kind of even it out. I feel like this coverage will work just fine. This is like between a medium and a full coverage. I'm going to go in with the setting powder that's going to add additional coverage, so I don't want to go too ham on the foundation. You can still see a little bit of pigmentation through the foundation, so for those spots I'm going to use a little bit of concealer. That way I don't add more layers of foundation. So I'm going to use the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. This one's in the color NC45. Once it oxidizes, it blends right into my skin. Usually for my contour bronzer, I go in with something a little bit more understated that's closer to my skin tone, maybe 1 or 2 shades darker. But today I see she has the burnt edges, so we're gonna go in with the Huda Beauty Hand Tour Contour Cream. This one's in the color medium, so I'm literally scraping around the edges. This one blends with no effort at all, so if you're somebody that sort of struggles or you're a beginner with cream contour, this one's a really easy one to use. It basically blends itself. Looks like her contour and blush is sort of, it's not all the way down here, it's sort of the tops of her cheekbones extending upward, going up that way. So it's not really like this, it's more so like that. So that's what we're gonna do. And I want to make sure with my contour, you want to measure between your hairline and your mouth. And we're going to go only about halfways, maybe a little bit more than halfways, because as I noticed, she doesn't have product here as far as blush and contour. So we want to keep it going upward about halfways. If you're somebody who has more of a round face shape and not as oval, this will sort of elongate your face to contour this way. For highlight, I'm going with something not too light. Her highlight looks looks pretty natural. It's not like super bright, like a super bright contrast. So I'm going in with the Dior Forever Skin Correct. This can get full coverage depending on how much of it you use. It looks like she has like a medium to full coverage look going on. So I think this will be good. It blends out effortlessly. It's not too heavy, and her makeup is not heavy at all. That's another reason why I wanted to go with this and the KVD Beauty, because you can get that medium to full without it being too heavy. It still looks sort of thin like her complexion looks. So with this, I'm gonna go in on the sides of nose, you guys, because this is gonna help out my nose contour, because her nose contour is contouring, okay? Her nose is super snatched, so we want to sort of replicate that. So I hope that you guys can hear me fine, because this rain is really coming down, and I noticed that it's a little bit brighter down here too. Her brightness comes down a little bit, but it's not too bright. So I'm gonna do like where my smile lines are as well. To blend the highlight, I'm gonna use my Beauty Blender sponge. Now that my highlight is blended, I'm just gonna touch up that contour just a little bit. Because we do want to keep the highlight natural, I don't want to go in with too light of a setting powder. So I'm going to use 2 Laura Mercier setting powders. This is just the regular Laura Mercier translucent powder. And then I have the Laura Mercier in translucent honey. So I'm just going to blend a little bit of the two together. I noticed that the side of her highlight by her eye seems to be extended outward. So as I'm setting, I'm making sure that I'm cutting that powder to set outward as well. And her nose contour is definitely going into the brow, and then she has like a button nose effect there. So we're gonna take this up. And then for her little button nose, we're gonna stop about here on the nose and just create just that sort of round button nose effect that Kelly has. But that nose contour is kind of strong, like it's apparent that it's a nose contour. So we're just gonna kind of tap it. We don't want to work it down. We just want to tap it just so that it won't be super, super harsh. So I'm going to use a big fluffy brush to dust away the powder. To lightly set the rest of my face, I'm going in with the NARS Soft Matte Powder, and it's going to work well with that KVD Beauty Serum Foundation. So she does have a pretty strong arched brow, you guys. So for the arched part, we're gonna definitely use a pencil because it's kind of strong. And at the head of her brow, it definitely does look softer. So I'm assuming that's a powder. And using my Benefit Goof Proof powder for the head of the brow. Concealer for the brow bone highlight is just slightly lighter than her skin tone. It's not super bright. So I'm going to use the Sephora Best Skin Ever concealer. This one's in the color 35N. It'll be the perfect shade. I'm going slightly higher with the arch than usual, just to kind of recreate her shape as best as I can. If you notice, the brightest part of her highlight goes from about here outward, and towards the head of the brow, the highlight is a little bit more natural, so we'll use our foundation for that. To give better definition, especially to the arch of the brow, I'm going to clean up the top as well, but I'm going to do that with powder just so it'll be a softer look. So we're going to blend our crease with the Sephora Micro Smooth Powder. This one's in the color Ebony. And we're going to be sure to take this up top to meet our brow. And then take it down at kind of like a slant, because we still want that highlight there to be exposed. Her green lid is sort of on the lower lid, so I don't want to take it too high. So everywhere she has the green, I'm going to sort of lightly carve it out with this brown eyeliner because my green isn't quite as hunter as hers. Kind of help to just slightly deepen my green. Sort of a deeper base. Help me mimic her eye shape because I want to kind of round it out. Hers are a little bit more round, so we're just going to kind of round this lid space out. I'm going to take my Charlotte Tilbury palette and go into the Power Eyes section and use that green. Taking the same brown eyeliner, we're going to smudge the bottom line. And then back in the green to cover the brown. Now the green we're going to take in the waterline and only about 2/3 out. So I'm going to take the brown from the palette and smudge the outer third and a little bit towards the bottom closer to the inside. So back into the palette, the same dark brown. I want to deepen that crease, go over that light brown color, but not completely cover it up. We're going to want to cover about half just to sort of soften our green as well as deepen this and give us a more defined crease like she has. Back into our micro smooth powder, and we're going to sort of go back and forth to soften the dark brown line just to give it a more soft transition. So I'm going to deepen it a little bit at the bottom lash line in the corners with black. I'm not sure if it's black, but I just feel like hers is deeper than mine. I don't see like a super wing or anything on the top line. It looks pretty close to her lash line. So I'm going to use the Rare Beauty liner. This is the felt tip liner, and maybe do a baby wing. And we're going to smudge that out as well, keeping it close to the waterline. For blush, we're going to use Paradise Venus from Pat McGrath. This almost looks exactly like the shade she's wearing. And I'm going to use a fluffier brush because her blush seems to be blown out and it's definitely high and back off of her cheekbone. We're going to take the mixture of setting powder, the Laura Mercier setting powder that we mixed, and just kind of clean up under the eye. On the tip of her nose, right in the little ball, I do see like a soft glow. So I'm going to take this lip bar palette and I'm going to take that gold in there and just dust a little bit right in the little button part and a tiny bit on the bridge. Now I can't tell if she has it like right on the tip of her blush or not. She may. If she does, it's just a tiny bit. So I'm just going to take just a barely tap it on an eyeshadow brush and lightly add it. Now her lashes, I feel like her nose, brows, and lashes really make the look. So for mascara, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Push-Up Lash. This is the black one because the bottom lashes are really separated. So her lashes are very sort of wispy and thin towards the end, a tad bit spiky, but not like dramatic. So I found these soft and smoky lashes. I'll link them in the description box, but they seem very similar to what she's probably wearing. Her lip line is definitely a soft brown, like a medium to light colored brown for her skin tone. So I'm going to use Cork lip liner from MAC, and it's definitely overdrawn. And her actual lip looks sort of flesh tone, so I'm going to go in with Baby Doll from Iman and just lightly tap that on the lip. I don't want it too opaque because I can clearly see her lip. She may even just have a gloss on actually. And for the gloss, this was the closest I could come, which I felt like was a really close match. It's the Fenty Gloss Bomb. This one's in the color Sweet Mouth. She has a mole on the right side, just like I do. Hers is a little further out, but I'm just going to emphasize mine that's on the right. So I'm going to take Sephora's liquid eyeliner in brown, finishing the look with Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Spray. Because her skin is so mattified, I don't see a glow anywhere. I'm going to go back into my soft matte powder from NARS and just lightly mattify. We don't want shine. And this is the final look. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial as much as I enjoyed creating it. Every single thing that I used today will be linked down below in the description box, so be sure to check that out. If you're new here, welcome. I would love for you to come join the family by hitting that subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. 'Cause I've been
where you are. You're too scared to show me love, 'cause too fresh with the scars.